This is an example of a pre-quiz. It's broken down by learning objective code and then the definition of the objective itself with a problem the students will try. They will then turn their quiz in to get corrected. If a learning objective proficiency level is met, the student will get a check mark on that. However, if they miss the problem or are not considered proficient, then they will not. They will then want to go to their proficiency tracker and record all of the learning objectives which they got check marks. The proficiency tracker is going to be the very first page in every note packet they get for every chapter. And it's going to be a document they'll want to keep track of throughout the entire chapter. For the first pre-quiz on here was sections 1.1 to 1.2, which covered 6 learning objectives. Now when they get their pre-quiz back, if they got a check mark on any of these learning objectives, they'd want to go into the pre-quiz column and check accordingly. Let's say you got the first and the last learning objectives correct on the pre-quiz. This would then mean they do not have to take notes nor do the daily work assigned with it. So now the next thing they want to do is actually make a plan on how they want to do their learning for the 4 learning objectives they did not get correct in this first group of problems. And what I would do is recommend that they make a plan on how to take their notes. There's going to be 3 choices. They can take notes by watching the video, reading the book, or waiting for direct instruction for the class. So at this time, I would fill in these boxes here with a plan on how they think they want to take notes. Now let's assume you planned to take book notes for section 1.1b, watch the video for 1.1c, and then just wait for the group direct instruction for section 1.2. This plan here is not set in stone and can be changed at any point in time. After students have finished all of the sections related to the pre-quiz, then they're ready to take the formal quiz. The formal quiz looks very much like the pre-quiz, except the questions have been slightly changed. You're going to see the learning objective number, the actual word, and a slightly different question related to it. Similar to the pre-quizzes, the formal quiz will be corrected with a check mark. So if a student gets the learning objective correct, I will mark it off. They will then want to take their results from this quiz and go back to their proficiency tracker and record how they did. So now in the proficiency tracker, we're at the formal quiz. They will then want to go in this column and check off all of the learning objectives they got correct on that quiz. Let's say of the 6 learning objectives, 4 of them were correct on the formal quiz. A grade will go in the grade book for this quiz under the summative assessments. If the student is not content with that quiz score, they can retake the learning objectives that were missed on the quiz. However, to do the retake, they must do a step of intervention. Now to adjust their plan, they're going to want to think about what type of extra practice or reteaching they should do for these 2 learning objectives. For learning objective 1.2b, they actually did take the notes and did the online homework already. So what I would suggest for this is for them to do the extra practice in the reteaching portion. So pull up the extra practice worksheet online, try the homework, and check your answers. Now for this other learning objective, 1.2c, when they did it on the pre-quiz, they got it correct. Therefore, they never took the notes initially. If this is the case, what I would recommend as your first step of intervention is to actually go back and take the notes on this particular section. That may be enough information you need to be able to be successful on the formal retake for this. If you're still struggling after the notes, you can try these extra practice reteaching or seek some help from the teacher or math para. Now, after they've retaken the quiz, what they're going to want to do is come back to their tracker under the retake column. Since they only retook these 2 learning objectives, they would want to come on in, and if they got them correct this time, put a check mark there. The intent of this document is to get the students a complete reflection of how they started from the pre-quiz all the way to the retake. After they finish one complete process of this section, they will go on and start over and do another pre-quiz and track the next group of questions the same way. When a chapter is done, I highly suggest that students take a complete look at how they did their learning and make note of which methods worked best for them, and then go ahead and adjust their plan for learning for the next chapter.